and Kat, I don't actually know anything about your background, Kat. How did you, and I don't think a lot of people here in the US do, so can you just give us a little bit of information about your background?
Yeah, so I'm based in the UK. I grew up in the north of England where there's not many opportunities to go sailing and racing, and particularly not opportunities to go offshore racing. So I grew up sailing dinghies and racing dinghies, and then spent most of my time travelling down to the south coast to Southampton to go racing on bigger yachts. I'd always followed Ellen MacArthur when I was younger, and like the goal for me was and still is to race around the world. So getting into the offshore scene was really important. Based myself in Southampton for university, and yeah, I've been racing offshore and inshore ever since. So at the moment I'm doing mainly short-handed offshore sailing, so in the UK and across Europe as well.
And I'm going to come back to that because I want to know more about the system in the UK, because I think that it's the way that you all are set up is really phenomenal. But before we get there, I wanted to talk to you, Sarah, a little bit about your background and how you got into short-handed sailing.
Yeah, well, very much like Kat, my dream has always been to race around the world, and that has been the sort of driving force in my sailing. So most of my sailing has been on bigger boats and offshore, and then a few years ago the double-handed offshore was a contender for the Olympics, and so that really shifted my interest a little bit into more of the short-handed stuff, and thought, well, this would be quite cool to give this a go and see what it's like, and so started getting into it, and it's amazing. There's nothing else like it.
So how do you see the 3300 specifically? Is it working well as because of the type of boat it is, or what is it that's working so well in the UK that's really become so popular there and the fleet size is really growing?
So it's a incredibly rewarding boat to race, and it's with the IC rating system that all the races in the UK at the moment with double-handed are done on. It does rate really well. So it's incredibly rewarding to race well and to also be at the top of the fleet when you've worked hard.
And have you already raced on it? Did you race on it in the UK? On the Sunfast?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, was this your first time on the Sunfast?
I had sailed the Sunfast in the UK actually for a few days, basically, but this was really the first time sailing it a lot.
As far as fleet management goes,
Yeah.
did you know where all the other teams were, and how did you manage that fleet and the interactions between you and them?
We had our yellow brick trackers. So we had the fleet information every hour. We'd get an update of the positions. Obviously, it's all the boats are different. So the first boat that crosses the line isn't necessarily the winner, which we know. In this case, it definitely wasn't. So you've kind of got to take it with a little bit of pinch of salt as well. Like a lot of the boats can sail much deeper downwind than we can, or you can sail. They've got a lot more waterline than us, so upwind you can't really compare yourself. But that did help us, particularly with crossing the Gulf Stream. So we were struggling with how accurate our current data was. So we were tracking the other boats, and we had information on their COG and their SOG, and obviously the position we could then work out from that when they were going through the stream, and if they were affected more than us, so we could kind of pick our routes through.
So Kat's driving right now, and I'm down here trying to figure out our expedition and downloading weather files because it stopped working for us. So we restarted everything, and we're going through the full troubleshooting process to see if we can figure out why it's not working.
And so, were there any events, like major events that happened during this that stand out in your mind and that will stick with you for the rest of your lives?
It's probably one. We're probably thinking the same one here.
Odds are.
Yeah,
perhaps. We had, after crossing the Gulf Stream, we knew there was going to be this transition zone, and all the forecasts from every model showed super light air for quite a few hours, big holes, really patchy, wind shifting in all directions, like very unsettled. And we had been tracking this. We knew about it before the race started. The forecasters on the Bermuda end talked about it at the pre-race briefing. So we were prepared mentally to be going into this really shifty period.
We were getting hourly updates of our weather, and we picked up nothing of this.
Yeah. So we thought that it was going to be like 5 knots-ish for 6 hours or something. And we came into it as expected. The wind died and shifted, and we switched to a jib. We'd been in a code sail, and so we took that down, put the jib up, and the wind totally died. We were sort of like bobbing around, and from the time that the wind picked up to like 5 knots and we could actually maneuver the boat and like pick our tack, we had 10 minutes before it was blowing 35 knots. It was out of nowhere, and so that was exciting.
Was there any strategy that you had to do for from that last third of it, from when you get out of the Gulf Stream to home, or was there anything specific that
We knew that we didn't know what the ratings were, and so it's really easy to get sucked into what the other boats are doing, where they are, how are you doing? But in the reality, all you can do is sail the boat. So we sort of check ourselves on that and remember we have no clue who owes who how much time. So let's not waste our energy on that. Let's spend our energy on where are we right now? Are we trimming the sails as we need to be trimming them right now? Are we driving the boat, or is autopilot doing the best job? Like, how do we maximize what we can do? And I think we did a very good job at sailing the boat.
We found a really nice mode in the last few hours. We were still tracking the boats to see what their SOG was every hour, and I think we were just so on it with each like transition and sail change we were going through.
By the time we crossed the finish line, we had every single sail in the inventory except for the A5 on deck and plugged in. We had been changing and changing and changing. Well, we had changed, and as soon as you got one down, you needed the next thing up, and so but they were critical transitions. Like, you had to do that or you were going the wrong direction.
I had an expected wind change. Came forward like 30 degrees. So yeah, we've now got this new breeze coming from east southwest. Which is perfect.
How would you encourage other people to get into double handing? I mean, because I love the partnership that was set up here, and you guys were obviously gifted the boat, which is lovely. Yeah. But if we're not in the UK and there's no established program, how do you encourage other people to take these steps to come and go double handing? What would you say? I'm going to start with you, Sarah. What would you say as some encouraging words, and what skill sets should people try and learn in order to tackle this adventure?
I think for double-handed sailing, for me, the skill set that's worth thinking about is sort of your management and planning ahead. When you are fully crewed, sometimes you can make up for sort of late decision making by sheer number of humans who can tackle a project. You don't have that ability when it's just 2 of you. So you have to plan ahead as much as you can and be prepared for that. So anything, and that's where like we really spent a lot of time every time we would come together on the boat throughout the race. Okay, if the wind shifts 10 degrees this direction and is holding, we do this. There was a lot of like if-then planning all the way along, which I think really helped us. And I would say that if you're getting into double-handed, whether it's offshore or just double-handed racing, the more you can think if-then, both your heads are in the game for what's going to happen next.
And what would you say? How would you encourage other? What skill sets and what other like just tactile things can people do to get involved in double handed?
For me, the thing with double-handed racing or any short-handed racing is that when you're on the boat, you are the driver, you're the navigator, you're the sail trimmer, you're the rigger, you're the bowman. You've got every job that you've got to do. You have to have, you don't have to be the best at everything, but you need to know how to do everything, and you need to be able to go. You need to be able to go from one job to the next job, and I think it's the best thing to do is to try and learn other skills and pick up other to try and like just broaden your skill set and make sure you can do a little bit of everything. Try and learn some rigging tips. Try and learn some sail repair stuff. Try and learn how to use the electronics, which is what I need to keep building on. Like it's you need to be able to like pull on all of those skills.
So I mean, when it comes down to it, you guys won the entire regatta, the whole thing, not just your class, won the whole thing. So does that mean what's the future, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it feels so rewarding to have done it. We didn't know that we had won it. We didn't know we'd won our class. We didn't know we'd won the whole thing until a couple of hours ago. Still, really, and so it's amazing. it's amazing that this race existed. It's amazing that the opportunity to sail this boat came to us, and it is so cool to have been able to sail it and feel like we really earned it, like we worked really hard for it.
Well, I hope that you guys come back for this regatta and for many other regattas, and specifically on the Sunfast. But I mean, it's so much fun to have followed you. I tuned in on Yellow Brick every day. I actually did the routing and sent it off to some friends and said, I think the girls are doing really well. They're really set up well here on the run line. So I think that it's not just you guys that had a good time. I think that the spectators had a really good time following you guys. So I hope you keep going with your mission.
Yeah, we'd love to. We've definitely got some dreams turning into plans, hopefully, to do some more sailing together, some more double-handed stuff. Transatlantic races are on both of our bucket lists.
On the cards, hopefully.
Yeah, and of course, both of us, the dream is to race around the world. So,
Well, good luck to you both.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
be following you.
Thanks.